Let me tell you about a moment almost nobody warns you about. It's not your birthday. It's not a doctor's appointment. It's not even the day you officially become a senior. It's the invisible transition. It's the first time you pick up the grocery bags and, without any big dramatic pain, your arms just feel smaller. The bags feel heavier than they should. Or you carry the laundry basket down the hall and you catch yourself thinking, why is this so hard? It's the first time you stand up from your favorite chair, and it takes a second longer than it used to. Not because you're lazy, not because you forgot how, but because your legs have to negotiate with your body a little bit first. And in that tiny pause, a quiet fear can sneak in. A fear that doesn't always get said out loud. What if this is the start of the slide? What if next year I can't do the stairs as easily? What if I become the person who needs help, just to live my own life? Nah. If that thought has ever crossed your mind, even for a second, I want you to know something. You are not weak for feeling it. You are aware. You are paying attention, and paying attention is the first step to staying independent. Now here's where the world tries to take advantage of that fear. Because the second you start worrying about strength, the industry pounces. Suddenly, it's ads, powders, tubs, shaker bottles, chalky drinks with labels that look like they were designed for a 22-year-old bodybuilder. And they'll tell you, straight-faced, that the only way to rebuild muscle after 60 is to spend a small fortune on protein shakes. That if you're not gulping down some expensive powder, you're basically out of luck. That is one of the biggest, most profitable lies in the modern health world. Yes, protein matters, but you do not need to live on shakes to stay strong. In fact, one of the best muscle-building foods for older adults is sitting quietly in the grocery store, usually under 5 feet away from the milk. It's simple, it's familiar, it's affordable, and it can build muscle faster than shakes for a lot of seniors, especially when your body is dealing with the reality of aging. That $1 grocery item is Greek yogurt. Now I can already hear some of you saying, hold on, yogurt? That's the miracle? Listen closely, because this is where it gets good. Greek yogurt isn't magic because it's trendy. It's powerful because it solves the exact 2 problems older adults face when trying to build muscle. 1. Aging muscle doesn't respond to protein the same way it used to. 2. Aging digestion doesn't absorb nutrients the same way it used to. So even if you're getting enough protein, your body may not be using it effectively. Greek yogurt helps both. And I want to share something that should make you feel relieved, not pressured. Researchers at McMaster University, one of the most respected institutions studying muscle and aging, have looked closely at what happens to older adults during periods of low activity, like illness, hospitalization, or simply a stretch of life when you're not moving as much. They've shown that older adults can lose leg lean mass during those low activity periods, and not all proteins perform the same when it's time to rebuild. In their work, higher quality dairy-based proteins supported better recovery of muscle once activity resumed. The big takeaway was not buy the fanciest product. The takeaway was protein quality and how your body uses it matters, especially after inactivity. And that's where Greek yogurt quietly beats the shake culture for many seniors, because it delivers high-quality dairy protein in a form your body can actually work with, especially when we use the 7-hour secret. Now I want you to listen closely to this next part, because this is the centerpiece. This is the part most people never get told. And once you understand it, your whole approach to food and strength will change. The secret isn't just that Greek yogurt has protein. The secret is the type of protein. Greek yogurt is rich in a slow-digesting protein called casein. And casein is the reason this little $1 cup can outwork a lot of shakes. Here's the picture I want you to hold in your mind. Think of your muscles like a garden. In your younger years, you could throw a quick splash of water on it. Boom! Your body responded. Fast. Efficient. You lifted a little, you ate a sandwich, you got stronger. Your system was like a brand new engine. But as we get older, the garden soil changes. The roots don't soak things up as quickly. The signal doesn't travel as sharply. Scientists call part of this anabolic resistance, meaning your muscles are more resistant to the signal that says, build, repair, grow. That's not you failing. That's biology. So if you take a typical protein shake, especially a fast one, and it hits your bloodstream like a quick burst, it's a little like dumping a bucket of water on dry soil. Some gets used, and some just runs off. And your aging muscle can't always take advantage of that short window. Casein works differently. Casein is not a quick splash. Casein is slow-release muscle fertilizer. When casein hits the stomach, it forms a gentle curd, almost like it thickens, so it digests slower. That means the amino acids, the building blocks of muscle, are released gradually over hours. Not a quick spike, a steady stream. For many older adults, that steady stream is the difference between I ate protein and my body actually rebuilt something. This is why I call it the 7-hour secret, because casein can feed your muscles for about 6 to 7 hours, sometimes longer depending on what you ate with it, how your digestion is, and when you had it. Think about that. If you eat Greek yogurt as part of a meal or a snack, you're not just feeding yourself for the next 20 minutes. You're giving your muscles a slow drip of building blocks for most of the day, or most of the night. That's why this matters so much for seniors. Because after 60, you're not just fighting weakness, you're fighting timing. You can't afford to have your muscle-building signal turn on for a short burst and then shut off. You want the lights on in that muscle repair factory as long as possible. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not here to say all shakes are useless. Some people truly need them, if appetite is low, if chewing is hard, if recovering from illness, if weight is dropping too fast. But the lie is that shakes are the only way. And for many seniors, shakes hit too fast, digest too fast, and leave your muscles underfed for the hours that matter most, especially if you're sitting more than usual. Now let's talk about the master switch in your muscle. This is another reason Greek yogurt can be such a smart move. There's an amino acid called leucine. And leucine is famous for one big job. It flips the on switch for muscle building. If protein is the bricks, leucine is the foreman that shows up and says, "All right, everyone, start building." Your body uses leucine to activate pathways involved in muscle protein synthesis, basically the machinery that turns food into repaired, stronger muscle tissue. Here's the senior-specific part. Older adults often need a stronger signal to flip that switch, so you can eat a little bit of protein and still not get the full muscle-building response because the leucine signal isn't high enough. That's why protein quality matters so much. Dairy proteins, like the proteins in Greek yogurt, are rich in essential amino acids and include leucine as part of the package. And Greek yogurt has another advantage that protein powders don't always have. It has living cultures, probiotics, when you choose the right kind. And those probiotics can act like a built-in delivery support for your gut. Because let's be honest, it's not just your muscles that age. Your digestion changes too. Many older adults produce less stomach acid. Many deal with reflux, medications, slower motility, bloating, constipation, or just that heavy feeling after eating. And if your gut isn't breaking things down well, you don't absorb protein, minerals, and nutrients as effectively. Fermented dairy foods like yogurt can be gentler for many people, and the cultures can support the gut environment. Also, the fermentation process can improve how available certain nutrients are. So Greek yogurt isn't just protein, it's protein that comes with digestion support. Now, I promised you a pro-level preparation guide, because this is where a lot of people accidentally ruin a good thing. First, plain versus flavored. If you remember nothing else from the preparation section, remember this: plain Greek yogurt is your foundation. Flavored yogurts often turn a muscle food into a dessert. They can be loaded with added sugar, and a sugar-heavy yogurt can spike your blood sugar, drive cravings, and leave you hungrier later, especially if you're already dealing with insulin resistance or prediabetes. And here's the sneaky part. The label may say fruit on the bottom or vanilla, and it feels healthy, but it's basically sweetened pudding with a little protein. Plain Greek yogurt gives you control. You can make it sweet if you want, but you decide the dose. Second, the 10-minute room temperature trick. Now, I want to be careful here because I'm not going to pretend your yogurt is a science experiment you have to do perfectly. This is simply a comfort trick that helps a lot of older adults. If your stomach is sensitive, don't eat it ice cold straight from the fridge. Let the serving sit on the counter for about 10 minutes, just long enough to take the chill off. Many seniors find that very cold foods feel harsher on digestion, especially if they're already dealing with low stomach acid or reflux. So this is a small act of kindness to your gut, and when your gut is calmer, you absorb better. Third, the muscle shuttling combo, honey and berries. This is the part most people miss, because they think adding anything to yogurt ruins it. Not if you do it smart. A small drizzle of honey gives you a touch of carbohydrate, and carbohydrates, especially when paired with protein, can help your body move nutrients where they need to go. Your body releases insulin in response to carbs, and insulin isn't just a blood sugar hormone. It also helps shuttle amino acids into cells. Now, do we want you pouring half a cup of honey? No, we're talking a drizzle, a teaspoon. Enough to support the delivery, not enough to create a sugar storm. Then add berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, whatever your budget allows. Berries bring fiber and colorful plant compounds that help calm inflammation. And inflammation matters for seniors because chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the reasons joints feel stiff, recovery feels slow, and muscles don't rebound as well. So now you've got slow-release casein to feed muscle for hours, a small carb signal to help delivery, and berries to help keep the post-meal inflammation down. That's not a snack, that's strategy. Fourth, the circulation stack, walnuts and banana. If you want to feel less stiff and recover better, you have to think beyond protein. Muscle is not just meat on bones. Muscle is tissue that depends on blood flow, oxygen delivery, nutrient delivery, waste removal. And circulation tends to decline with age, especially if you sit a lot. Walnuts bring omega-3 fats and supportive nutrients that help your body manage inflammation and maintain healthier cell membranes. Bananas bring potassium, which supports muscle function, nerve signaling, and can help with cramping for some people, especially if you're on certain medications or not eating enough potassium-rich foods. So a simple bowl can look like this. Plain Greek yogurt, drizzle of honey, handful of berries, a spoonful of chopped walnuts, half a banana sliced. And suddenly, you're not just eating yogurt. You're feeding muscle, calming inflammation, and supporting circulation, all in one bowl. Now, let's do something important. I want to compare Greek yogurt to other $1 muscle builders, because the goal here isn't to obsess over one food. The goal is to build a plate that protects your independence. Greek yogurt is the star today because of that 7-hour casein slow release. But it has teammates. And you deserve options, because budgets vary, appetites vary, and some people simply don't tolerate dairy well. So let's talk about a few affordable powerhouses. First, canned sardines. I know. Some of you just made a face. But hear me out. Sardines are like a nutrient bomb. They're rich in protein, they're rich in omega-3s, and they're one of the easiest ways to get vitamin D from food. Why does that matter for strength? Because vitamin D isn't just about bones. It's involved in muscle function too. And omega-3s help with inflammation and can support muscle recovery. If your hands feel weaker, if opening jars is harder, if grip strength is slipping, foods that support muscle function and reduce inflammation matter. Sardines also tend to include calcium when the bones are included, which supports the whole system. Bones, contraction, stability. A can of sardines on toast or mixed into a salad can be a surprisingly strong move for seniors. Second, whole eggs. Eggs are one of the most misunderstood senior foods. People fear the yolk. But the yolk is not the enemy. It's the helper. Research has shown that whole eggs can stimulate muscle-building signaling more than egg whites alone, even when the protein amount is matched. Why? because the yolk brings extra nutrients, fats, vitamins, and compounds that seem to support the muscle-building pathway, including the mTOR pathway, which is basically one of your body's main build muscle signals. So if you want strength, don't be afraid of the yolk unless your doctor has given you a specific reason. 2 eggs with a side of yogurt? That's a serious muscle-supporting breakfast. Third, cottage cheese, the nighttime guardian. Cottage cheese is another casein-rich dairy food. And this is where it shines. Nighttime. When you sleep, you go many hours without eating. For an older adult, that can mean long hours of muscle breakdown without much building. A small bowl of cottage cheese before bed can provide slow-release casein overnight, another way to keep that muscle garden watered while you're asleep. If Greek yogurt is your daytime slow drip, cottage cheese can be your nighttime security guard. Fourth, lentils and black beans, the gut muscle axis. Now, these aren't as high in protein per bite as Greek yogurt or sardines, but they offer something seniors often underestimate: fiber. And fiber doesn't just help you use the bathroom, though yes, it helps that too. Fiber feeds your gut bacteria. And your gut bacteria help regulate inflammation, metabolism, and even hormones and signaling molecules that influence muscle health. When your gut is healthier, you tend to handle blood sugar better, inflammation is lower, and your body becomes more responsive. That matters because many seniors aren't just dealing with aging. They're dealing with a body that's inflamed and undercirculated. Beans and lentils also provide minerals like magnesium and potassium, and they're extremely budget-friendly. You can build a powerful muscle-supporting meal by pairing beans or lentils with a dairy protein or an egg, because then you're combining the muscle signal with the gut support. Now let's talk about the myth that has stolen hope from too many people. The sarcopenia myth. Sarcopenia is the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength, and the way it's often discussed makes it sound like a death sentence. Like after 60, muscle loss is inevitable, automatic, and irreversible. That is not the truth. Yes, muscle loss becomes more likely as we age, but likely is not the same as inevitable. Aging muscle loss is heavily influenced by 3 things: nutrition, activity, and circulation. When seniors don't eat enough protein, or they eat protein that doesn't get absorbed well, muscle breaks down faster than it rebuilds. When seniors move less, especially after illness, surgery, winter months, or a stressful season, muscle shrinks fast. And when circulation declines because of inactivity, dehydration, inflammation, or certain health conditions, muscles receive fewer nutrients and recover more slowly. So when someone says, "Well, I'm just getting older," what they often mean is, "My nutrition signals are weaker. My activity is lower than it used to be. My circulation is not supporting my tissues like it once did." That is good news, because those are adjustable. Not overnight, not with magic, but with a plan. And Greek yogurt fits into that plan because it helps you send a stronger signal with less effort. It's soft, easy to chew, easy to swallow. It's high protein without being heavy like a steak. It's versatile. And it gives you that slow-release casein that keeps feeding your muscles for hours, especially important if you're not eating large meals. Now, I want to make this practical, because I don't want you walking away thinking, "Okay, so I'll buy yogurt, and then what?" Here's a simple way to use Greek yogurt for muscle as a senior. If you're trying to rebuild strength, aim for 1 serving daily. Not because more is always better, but because consistency beats intensity. If you're doing any kind of simple strength work, chair stands, wall push-ups, resistance bands, light dumbbells, have your Greek yogurt within a couple of hours after. And if you're not exercising yet, don't wait for perfect. Start with food first. Build the habit. Then add movement. If you're recovering from a low-activity period, like you were sick, traveling, or just had a tough week, this is when the 7-hour secret matters most. Your muscles are more vulnerable when you're less active. That's when slow, steady protein becomes a protective blanket. Now, but wait. There's a small trick most people miss. They eat Greek yogurt, but they eat too little protein at the rest of the day. Greek yogurt is a tool, not a miracle by itself. So think of your day like 3 chances. 3 chances to flip that muscle switch. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you can get a meaningful protein source at each of those, Greek yogurt, eggs, fish, beans, cottage cheese, chicken, whatever you tolerate, your muscles get 3 opportunities to rebuild. That's how you fight sarcopenia, not with one heroic shake, with steady signals. And let me say something directly, because I think some of you need to hear it. You are not too old to get stronger. You may need a smarter strategy than you needed at 40. You may need more protein than you used to. You may need more recovery than you used to. But you are not done. I've seen seniors in their 60s, 70s, even 80s regain leg strength, improve balance, and feel steady again, not because they became athletes, but because they started feeding their muscles like they mattered. Because they realized independence is carried by the legs. Independence is getting up from the chair without thinking about it. Independence is stepping off a curb without fear. Independence is being able to catch yourself. Independence is being able to carry your own groceries, not because you have to prove anything, but because you deserve to live in your own body without constant negotiation. And your independence is fueled by your plate. So here's what I want you to do, starting this week. Go to the store and pick up plain Greek yogurt. If money is tight, get the store brand. It works. If dairy bothers you, we can talk alternatives in another video, but many people tolerate strained yogurt better than milk. Bring it home. Let a serving sit for 10 minutes before you eat it if your stomach is sensitive. Add a drizzle of honey. Add berries if you can. Add walnuts and banana if you want the circulation stack. And then do one small movement today that tells your legs, we're not retiring. 5 chair stands. A short walk to the mailbox. A few wall push-ups. Something. Because the food is the fuel, but the movement is the message. Now, I want to hear from you, because this channel is a community. In the comments, tell me your age, and tell me the one strength struggle that bothers you the most right now. Is it getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, balance, grip strength? And if you've felt that quiet fear about losing independence, say it out loud down there. Not because we're going to sit in fear, but because once we name it, we can beat it. Aging doesn't have to mean getting weaker, not on my watch, and not on yours.